Museveni's government. Obviously, his plans are never good for Uganda. Right now, I have some security alerts from the State House and some other places that I'd like to share with you. So, since the election, as you might know, it has been very difficult for Museveni to act the right way. Despite winning the election, he's still hunting Bobi Wine. His home is still under siege. The military and police are still residing there almost permanently since the 15th of January. Today is the 5th of February. So I call upon everyone concerned, anybody who can tag the UN, anybody who can tag ICC. We call upon our brothers and sisters in Congo, Kenya, Tanzania, all those neighboring countries, Burundi, because what happens in Uganda, especially Kenya, that's your future. What is happening in Uganda right now is in Kenya's near future. So my Kenyan brothers and sisters, please come on board. Let us share our tactics now to help you save your future later, because it's not going to be good. Museveni has infiltrated his funds into Kenya. So come on, let's work together. Let's get this family out of East Africa entirely. Okay? So Museveni has some very, very, very big plans. Despite him trying to swear in now, he is also planning a transition of power in his own preference. So when I speak of transition of power, he doesn't mean a transition for Uganda or as a nation as we wish. No. The transition of power still in Museveni's mind is supposed to be by him, through him, with him, and his family. So here are some of the details. So what they're planning on, before I get to the transition, let me give you a security alert right now because it's very urgent, and we may need to know quickly so we can spread the word and get it out there. Museveni plans on a big terrorist attack, not a terrorist attack that's organized by Damulira, Kaihura, Salim Saleh, and Muhozi. They plan on attacking Parliament in broad daylight during a parliamentary sitting, a debate. They're going to use the gangs, as you people know, Kaihura, Damulira. They work with a lot of gangs that are in the ghetto. In fact, they pay some of them. Many of you know of this guy who's Fangon group or whatever. They're going to use such a group of people. They have them organized already. What they'd like to do is to have these people armed with bombs, guns, and all types of ammunition to get into parliament during a parliamentary sitting. They actually want to do this while the old parliament is still sitting, because remember, many MPs that were elected this time were elected as interest MPs for Museveni. Most of them are Rwandese Kabano. You will see people like Hildeman, Dr. Hildeman. He actually won the election, but the win was given to Amelia Chambade. In Waiswa in Nakawa, Waiswa Mufumbiro won the election, but the win was given to Rukidi. I think he has both names. I do remember when I lived in Nakawa, Ruhindi was a member of parliament then. And that was, I would say, I came to the US maybe 20 years ago. And so he's back by assignment. Because remember, even in Kabano, there are actual names of people in their policies or bylaws, whatever runs the structure of the Kabano, the Rwandese community organization. They actually do have names in those books that they've written, or bylaws, that include names like Besigye. Besigye is staying in the opposition to keep Museveni relevant, to keep the opposition looking like it is real, and yet he is working alongside Museveni, so Museveni looks like he's democratic. The other person that is in there is the Ruhindi family. They are listed in the Kabano, actually. One of these days I will start over and I'll bring the history of the Kabano group. They are all over the world. They're cast everywhere. They're like a dark web. They're cast everywhere. They meet often. They decide on new routes or changes. They decide on acts. They add new people. They update things. They're now putting their future where their mouth is. Their children and grandchildren are starting to line up and take position. So they're called the Kabano in the Bahima dynasty. So let's call on CNN, Larry Madowo, anybody tag him, tag whoever you can tag, because these facts, this is going to be something that's going to happen in the near future. Okay, the attack on Parliament of Uganda today is February the 5th, 2026. Museveni and son Muhoozi, Salim Saleh, Kaihura, and Damulira are planning an attack on the Parliament of Uganda with the previous parliamentarians, the ones who exist until the new elected MPs take over, while in session during a debate, to make sure that most of those MPs are killed, especially the NRM ones, because this time Museveni has his own people that are going to help him transition, as he plans in his mind to transition into an impeachment and later on have his brother take over. Well, his brother is still not a final decision. Okay, so tag anybody you can tag, because this is vital. It is serious. It is important. It needs to be shared widely, because we do not want to lose our MPs. The MPs that will be in session probably around the time that this happens may be Ugandan MPs. So let's make sure this doesn't happen, okay? The attack on Parliament will be using ghetto gangs and rebel groups from Congo. When they do attack, these will be youths who will seem like people who elected Chagulanyi, okay? They're choosing people who look like His Excellency Chagulanyi's supporters. Remember, we are the youth, we are the young people, we are the change wanters, we are the people who are not in the system, we are the people who are not working with the government currently. So he wants to use people who look like us, so that he can easily brand internationally to the Western world that indeed NUP, or National Unity Platform, does have terrorists, or is made of a terrorist organization, okay? So the attack will be during a seating or a debate. It'll be a full house, okay? He wants to kill majority of NRM figures because he can easily replace them with Rundi's people. He also would like to kill and make sure that Joel Senyonyi will be in the house when this happens, because he wants Joel Senyonyi out of the picture. So be sure that when he attempts to do something like this, he could set up the drivers or the security team of Joel Senyonyi to be involved, or to be part of the scheme, such that they get him there for him to perform his dirty deed. So anybody that can get this word out, let's be vigilant. We have, relatives and friends, legitimate Ugandans who are in this parliament, some duly elected, some, he may have cheated for them to win the election, but this is time for him to offload people that he does not want to continue into his future, or his grandchildren or children's future. So please be vigilant. The other thing is, when these gangs and rebels, or the group from the rebel group from Congo, when they come into parliament, in the middle of them causing the ruckus or doing whatever they're doing, he would like for them to, they're going to be chanting people power, our power. They're going to be chanting Chagulanyi is our president, we want our win. They're also going to say things like we want Chagulanyi in Entebbe Muntebe. They want their victory. And the other thing that is going to be implicating the Muslim community in Uganda, he has trained these people to say Allahu Akbar. It is, I'm not saying it right because I'm sorry if I butchered it, but he wants them to also say Allahu Akbar, because he's implicating the two groups, Muslims in Uganda and NUP as a party, because his goal is to brand NUP a terrorist organization. What they would like to do with this event is to make sure that NUP offices will close, which I'll get to that, how that will happen, He would like the NUP offices to be closed, all of the branches all over the country to be closed by this event. But I'll get to that. Get this. He wants to use, there will be some Muslims, obviously, because, you know, in the ghetto, we have everyone living there. Christians, Muslims, just about any youth that can be. They're in the ghetto. So he wants to use those words appropriately so that he can reference and say, you see, we told you NUP is a terrorist organization. You see, the Muslim community. Then they'll go into the Muslim community and start after the attack and all of that. Over 200 MPs, they want to be killed. Obviously, Joel Senyonyi, obviously, Anita Among. They therefore have been told to run into there's a new wing of parliament that was built recently. They've asked them to run into that place because that will be their getaway plan. In the getaway plan, they're supposed to find UPDF uniforms there that they will eventually put on. And in the scramble to rescue people here and there, those clothes are not going to be there. So essentially, these people do not know their future. So if you're watching me and you're part of the group that is going to the State House, the future they have given you about the exit plan is not true. Matter of fact, they wish that you people, or they are going to, get rid of you people. A few of you will survive because they also want a testimony on camera to the Western world to show them that indeed NUP is a terrorist organization, because the chants are going to say, we want our victory, our president is Chagulanyi Sentamu, we want to go to Entebbe Muntebe. Things like that are going to be what they're saying. And one last thing is going to be Allah Wakwaru, because they want to implicate two groups in Uganda. Okay? So they're not going to find their clothes. Some of them will get killed. Okay? and some of them will be gotten in the getaway car. The getaway car that will remain there, that will not be used because some of them are killed, will be used to rescue members of parliament who have survived or are injured or whatever the case may be. They will arrest and kill some of the actors, the bad actors of this event. Okay? Then after that, Museveni will call a state of emergency in the country Uganda. Obviously, with such an attack, a grave attack on several legislators, he will then call a state of emergency. A national holiday will be started officially from the date of that killing. Okay? On that morning of. And they will not bury those MPs right away. The goal is to bury them in a large, a mass grave, and make a site, and make it a memorial site of the members of parliament of Uganda who died on this day and this period. We remember them, and he'll make it a tourist site, make it an official site where people will visit and say, oh my goodness, the rest of the world, CNN, Larry, please come and watch, Larry Madowo from Kenya, from CNN. All these things are going to be happening as they have planned them, according to them. Now, that doesn't mean, because now I've said it, they still might continue. They could continue it, or they may adjust it, or they may altogether throw it out, which I'm hoping that is thrown out, because we have several people in our parliament that we hope something like this does not happen. But you just never know. These people are sick in their head. The things they do to people are limitless. Wait until I tell you what they do for one of the torture victims that I got to speak with, that I got information from. You'll just wait. Just wait. So once he has commemorated the area, they will gazette them and locate it and make it a tourist organization site, a tourist site, and for international media to make it official that several Ugandans were killed by Muslims and new terrorist organizations. Therefore, Uganda is now in a state of emergency. The remaining killers will be assembled before court. They'll be brought to court almost daily, like they do with new members or new political prisoners. You see how they bring them, and then they'll say, oh, the judge went to the bathroom, we can't continue the case is adjourned. Then they'll bring them again until, the next week and say, oh, something happened, we're out of printing paper or whatever. Then they're adjourned, they're taken back to prison for another month. Oh, the judge, the attorney general did not show up, the state didn't show up. Then again, they'll, just so they make it look like they're doing something, but really they're not. The goal is to have these people seen in the media that Museveni is actually doing something. Okay, it'll be a waste of time for a period of time. Then they'll sentence them. Obviously, sentencing them does not mean it is official and it's going to stick. They will be sentenced because they've been promised a life after that. They probably will get out from the back door. As you've seen, a lot of these things happen. People who you expect to be in prison are free. Those who are not supposed to be in prison are in prison. Like new political prisoners. They're not supposed to be there. They have not committed a crime, but they're in there because the dictator says so. Okay? So they'll attract a lot of media, and eventually their goal is to stop multi-party politics in Uganda. The goal of the attack on the parliament of Uganda is to brand new a terrorist organization, okay, is to kill a lot of Ugandan legislators, because Museveni has his own people now, and also to stop multi-party politics, because they want to make sure NUP does not exist, because NUP has been something that has given Museveni so much headache, because NUP is legitimate. When you think of the other parties, and I know a lot of people have said, I don't like I don't like FDC, or I'm not in support. I don't support Besigye because I am privy to some information from the Kabano and the group, because Besigye is listed. I don't know how somebody like Besigye and Mugisha Muntu, who were with Museveni in the bush, okay, are not more terrorizing or do not cause Museveni so much fear compared to Honorable His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. It does not make sense. In essence, if this were true, okay, if Besigye was real, if Mugisha Muntu was real, they would be the biggest fear to Museveni, because they know all of his tactics, because they were with him in the bush, because they would fight Museveni with his own tricks. But no, he's every effort to end multi-party politics has been leaned toward His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. It is no wonder his home to date, despite Museveni giving himself a win, he's still searching for the second guy. Okay, if you won fairly and squarely, why are you worried about the rest? Why aren't the rest of the other presidential candidates' homes not in carnage like His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's home? Why? It does not make sense. Let's think and let's add these things together, because, you know, they think we're foolish. They think we don't know what they're doing. But none of it makes sense when you look at it. Museveni has fooled us so long, especially our parents and the people who brought him into power. But the young ones now, we're questioning, we're thinking, we're researching. We're like, wait a minute, why does this look like this? How come Museveni can feel free with an opponent like Besigye, who was his doctor in the bush? Besigye, who was in the bush with him. Mugisha Muntu was in the bush with Museveni, but he poses no threat to Museveni. After losing elections, he's free. Okay, why then is Museveni chasing around His Excellency Bobi Wine? The truth is, Bobi Wine won the election by 71% of the Ugandan election that ended on the 15th. Okay, that's why he's trying to fight him. I'm going to talk about another security alert. So you know, the security alert about the parliament attack is complete. The next one is about transition of power. According to Museveni, this is not what we think as Ugandans. It's not what we want. We want change. We want Museveni out with his family, out of Uganda. But they, as you know, the slogan says, protecting the gains. They are protecting their future, their children, their grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. In efforts to do that, here is what they also plan to do, okay? Museveni is planning his version of peaceful transfer of power. How is that so? They're in the State House. In fact, this is an urgent security alert because I just got it. This has to do with him thinking of what they're going to do and who takes over now or next after Museveni. Here's how the breakdown happens. Museveni and the family are sitting together right now. Museveni, his son, Salim Saleh, his wife, his daughter, his son-in-law, brother-in-law, and wife. Okay? The plan is that you remember the tweet that Muhoozi made a day or so ago, where he says that he's not the Messiah, or he's not the Messiah, but he is the voice that is coming out of the wilderness that is going to announce the next Messiah. And in reference, he talks about his uncle Salim Saleh. There's been a big shift whereby Salim Saleh has almost exited Gulu. I know that he has a residence there, but he's back and forth now because he sees this slipping. This thing is slipping from their hands, and so they want to hold it back and tuck it in together as they feel they should. Okay? So that tweet meant to say, that Muhoozi now is off the path to becoming the president after his father. Please tag anywhere you can. Tag the ICC, tag Robert Amsterdam, tag the UN, tag anybody you can tag, because this needs to go out. They're planning a transition that will look appropriate and proper. Okay? They're planning to, the way Museveni wants to do this is, while they remain in power in the background, as they are now, Muhoozi will not be in the running to becoming the next president in 2031. That's according to them. But this has been moved even closer. They've seen that Museveni is weaker and may not handle the pressure. Museveni himself is afraid of nations like the US, like the scenario with Maduro, that may come up and pick him up. You know, he thinks Trump might show up or send somebody to go and pick him up. In the meantime, they have moved the goalpost. They've moved this to even closer a date than they had proposed for 2031. What they'd like to do, as you know, Museveni has picked members of parliament that are his right now that will join the transition, the new parliament that's coming up, okay? And because most of them are Rwandese MPs and the opposition right now are compromised, a lot of opposition members have been given some type of bribe, some type of funding to get them off staying opposition or to dial down their voice about being in the opposition. Okay, so they are very compromised, but Museveni has picked his own people. As you know, you've seen some historicals come back to take up positions in parliament. Like Lutamaguzi in Luero won fairly and squarely, but they gave, that seat was given to Tumukunde's son. Tumukunde is also a member of parliament in another region. Ruhindi in Nakawa is back in the game. He's now elect member of parliament, even though Waiswa Mufumbiro, who is in prison, won the election. The other person is Dr. Hildeman in Kampala. He won the election, but it was given to, what's her name? Amelia Chambade. Amelia is, all these people are Rwandese. So they're now pitching camp everywhere to secure the transition that they think they're going to get into. Okay? So what they would like to do is, when that thing happens in parliament, according to them, and, you know, the commemoration happens, multi-party politics is banned, the new parliament takes over, that's all his people. They want to make amendments in the new parliament. Listen to these amendments. They want to make all presidential elections only at parliament level. That means the grassroots will no longer elect their president. Let's just say if the parliament has, let's say, 70% the party of Museveni, or whoever that person will be at the time, whether it's Salim Saleh or whomever, that party, that parliament will always elect only the Rwandese people, because they will make the numbers. When they are more than 50, they can vote and pass anything they would like. Remember, they have already, with this event, they're going to ban multi-party politics, and also they're going to close all new offices. That will mean the opposition will be almost depleted. That means they will pass anything that they wish, especially passing bills that support them. So after the president will be elected in parliament, they also want to pass a bill that will create immunity of the previous president. Essentially, Museveni wants to go scotch-free. Because once it passes that the president, a sitting president, has immunity, that will mean that all the crimes Museveni committed are clean. He's back on a clean slate. All of you that have anything to go to court about, no longer useful. He's free. He cannot be charged. He can do whatever he wants. He can be back. He can everything that he has done to that date, that impeachment goes into the files, into the books. Museveni has no crime, which we hope that will not happen. Eventually, they'll table a bill to impeach Museveni. This is something that Museveni wants because he feels tired. As an old man, his faculties are failing. His physical ability, his mental ability, his, he's a brilliant man. All of that is starting to fail, as nature would have it. Because of those things, when the impeachment comes into Parliament and they table that bill, which they're hoping at the time, there will be such a Speaker of Parliament, maybe Mao, maybe somebody else. Mao could be just next in target. Honorable Mao could be next in target. After Anita Mong, he would also be taken out. Then guess who rises to their position as they wish? The Deputy Speaker, Tayeba. It is possible that that's where it's going. But for now, they will table the impeachment and they'll discuss it in Parliament. They'll debate on it on the floor of Parliament. And then Museveni will accept it and sign it and say, okay, you can impeach me. With that said, then they will elect his with the members in Parliament who are his people. After the impeachment, they will transfer power to somebody else from his family. Now, that is what the big fight is about tonight in State House. The big fight is about who then becomes next after Museveni. The propositions are Salim Saleh, the brother of Museveni. Like I said, this is a family cabal, and they feel like it has to rotate around there. So they're proposing Salim Saleh. Obviously, that is seconded strongly by Muhoozi, who knows he doesn't have that seat anymore. The next possible person is the daughter, Natasha. And they're thinking a first female president will sound good internationally because it'll be a big change for Uganda. And it will help, sort of block focus on Ugandan politics, block focus on Museveni, hopefully cause a lot of the international community to say, oh my goodness, look, Uganda has a female president. Lots of women or supporters of female presidents, those non-governmental organizations will say, look what they've done. This is great. That country finally, after a dictator, has their first female president. Even if that female president truly is the daughter of the dictator, which makes absolutely no difference. We don't want this family in Uganda. We don't care. We don't care if it's a male, a female, a horse, a donkey, a chicken, nothing from this last family, okay? We're done with them. So anyway, those are the propositions they have. Also, Rawogo, who is the husband of Natasha. Think about that. Husband and wife, they lay in the same bed, are fighting for this position. Wife is the daughter of the president, of the dictator, wants to be the president. Husband says, well, wait, I want to be president too. Okay, so Rabogo is in discussions about it. He wants to be, and therefore that's causing a lot of fighting or infighting within that family. We hope that at some point, this comes to an end. The whole thing, the whole family, relatives, friends, and family, we want them out of there. We are done with this family. As I promised you, I'm going to describe a scenario, a torture scenario. I've already filed this with the ICC. I've submitted my contribution online. I'll show you the video. Give me just a second. Let me show you. I'm sorry. I will have to post it later, but I'm going to speak about it because it's on this phone that I'm actually doing the live on. One of the escapees from a a torture chamber, a safe house, recently spoke. And what he said is appalling. Like I said, the goal of these Rwandese people that torture Ugandans, their goal is to dehumanize you such that when you come out or leave the jails or the safe houses, you have no dignity. You can't even think of yourself as Mrs. or Sir or whatever. You have lost the humanness that you would be as a person. I'm going to describe something. If you have children around, please have them go somewhere. If your heart cannot take a very graphic scene, you can take a break and just go offline for a little bit. But think about this. I know that most Ugandans have seen, or even if you haven't seen physically, you know how a calf, that's a baby cow, feeds from the mother's, I will say, nipple, okay? You know how a baby calf, especially young, very, very young, goes on to latch onto mommy's nipple, one of them, to get milk in a very, like a suctioning process, okay? In the torture chambers, they have calves in some of them. So they'll bring a calf and they have a prisoner. This prisoner will be tied down, a male prisoner, okay? Let me be specific. It'll be a male prisoner, tied down, hands tied down, legs tied spread, no clothes on. One leg to the right, one leg to the left, spread to about how you, I'd say about 90 degrees. Let's say 90 degrees. Legs spread wide, okay? Now, anybody who knows a cow, calf, horse, their tongue is coarse. It's like steel wire, okay? The tongue is very coarse, like steel wire, because I think it's good for grinding down the grass when they eat. When cows eat or grass, it helps them kind of soften or munch on something. This gentleman describes what happened. I'm shaking from doing this. He describes how they're treated. So legs apart. God help me go through this. Tied down. These Muhozi people, there's like 30 or 40 military men sitting in front of these people watching. They bring 2 people at a time. These are NUP members or NUP supporters or people who are anti-government, not in any dangerous way, just not supporting them. Could be anyone around. They bring the 2 prisoners, they're 2 by 2s, stand them, legs apart, hands apart, all tied down. They bring a baby calf, a baby cow, maybe a few days old, hungry. This prisoner is undressed. And what they're trying to do is extract information from the prisoner. They keep saying, tell us. What do they do? What's the next event? What is Chagulanyi telling you? Where is Chagulanyi now? Where is the Kabaka? Their purpose also is to demean any strong organizations, including the Buganda Kingdom. The Kabaka is very powerful in their eyes, and so they want to break that power and dice it up and put it in these prisoners' heads that those people whom they support and strongly stand for do not care for them, because now they're in their hands. Why are they not rescuing them? So let's go through this as fast as I can. Help me. So anyways, legs apart.